Hokage Hidden Ace, the time-traveling Hyuga who outshines Madara. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 31. Accidentally took advantage of Tsunade. The Daiming Palace is related to the Senju clan, and is even closer to Tsunade. As the new year is approaching, it is appropriate for Tsunade, as a junior, to visit the daimyo. No one can find fault with it. What's more, it still means Uzumaki Mito. The next day, Tsunade went to the Hokage office without any trouble, then left the village and went straight to the Daiming mansion. Uzumaki Mito asked Tsunade to visit the daimyo as a junior, and the third Hokage raised his hands and feet to support. He even hoped that Tsunade could stay in the Daiming mansion and spend the new year with the Daiming, thus bringing the relationship between the Daiming mansion and the village closer. The closer the relationship is, the better to ask for money in the future. After leaving the village, Tsunade did go to the Daiming mansion and really visited the Daiming. Then I wandered around Daiming mansion for a few days, bought a lot of things, and then quietly left, turning around and heading towards the border camp. There were people on duty at the camp day and night, but it would be difficult for ordinary ninjas to detect Tsunade's infiltration. Tsunade turned a corner from Daiming mansion to the border camp and sneaked into the camp. Affected by the temperature in various places, it began to rain and snow in the land of rain and surrounding areas. Occasionally, rain mixed with broken ice appeared. Such extreme weather caused the entire land of rain and surrounding areas to be covered with a thick layer of snow. Covered with ice. The temperature is also dropping. Except for the ninjas on duty, everyone in the camp hid in the wooden huts to rest or light a fire to keep warm. The medical room is Shizuchi's exclusive activity area, and other ninjas will not come here if nothing happens. In the wooden house, Jingyi was lying on the bed, holding a book brought from the village. Someone is here, an acquaintance. Jingyi put down the book in his hand and watched the other party skillfully pry open the window of the medical room and get in with a whoosh. Why are you so skilled in this move? I must have practiced a lot before. Going into the medical room through the window, and glancing at Shizuchi, who was lying on the bed reading a book, Tsunade shouted. That's right. When I received the news, I went straight to Daiming mansion under the pretext of visiting relatives, and then ran around the corner from Daiming mansion. You're good, do you still have the time to read? What if? Jingyi replied angrily, being on tenterhooks and frightened all day long? In this case, I don't have to wait for others to deal with me secretly. I'll be scared to death myself first. You'd better come in quickly and warm yourself up. In the middle of winter, the freezing temperatures are no joke. Thanks to the strong resistance of ninjas, if it were an ordinary person running around like this, his life would probably be long gone. Shizuchi gave up his position and motioned for Tsunade to go under the quilt to warm herself. If you have some conscience, you won't waste my running around here and there. Tsunade gave Shizuchi an appreciative look. Shizuchi sensibly left the room where he slept so that Tsunade could change clothes. After Jingyi left, Tsunade quickly lifted her clothes, then threw the wet clothes and underwear in the corner, and the next second she got under the quilt. Etc. Tsunade curled up in the quilt and realized it for a while. After her body warmed up, Tsunade subconsciously wanted to reach for her clothes. It took her a moment to realize that this was not at home. There were no clothes piled on the bedside for her to change into, and the previous clothes had been thrown into another corner of the room. And it was all wet, so there was no way to wear it. Jing, who was holding the plate, pushed the gate of opening and walked into the room. When he pushed the gate of opening, he saw the wet clothes in the corner. He didn't think much and walked directly to the bed and handed the plate to Tsunade. Well, there is only one for 2 people today. The conditions in the camp are not as good as those in the village. The meat is shared with the prey caught by the captain when he went out on patrol. The hand holding the plate waited in the air for more than 10 seconds before Jingyi felt something was wrong. This girl usually likes to rush to eat, but why is she so reserved today? Are female bandits sometimes reserved? Tsunade, who was lying on the bed, almost tore a hole in the quilt with her embarrassed toes. After all, I missed a change of clothes. Even if she is usually carefree, she is a woman after all, and there are times when she is embarrassed. There was no movement for a long time. Jingyi felt very strange. There was something wrong with Tsunade today. She seemed to have thought of something. She looked back at the clothes in the corner and realized it. Are you in neutral? Laugh your ass off. Seeing Shizuchi looking at him with half-smiling eyes, Tsunade gritted her teeth angrily, wanting to jump out of the quilt and give him 2 big-ass pockets. Ha ha ha. It was good that Tsunade didn't scold him, Shizuchi couldn't help but laugh. At this moment, no matter how straightforward her temper was, Tsunade couldn't bear it. She blushed for the first time. In a rage, she reached out her hand, grabbed Shizuchi's clothes, pressed Shizuchi on the bed, and covered her with a quilt. Raise your hand and hit. Fuck, plate. He was still holding a plate in his hand. There was freshly fried meat on the plate. If it were knocked over, there would be a grease stain all over the place. Noticing that the plate in his hand was about to fall, Jingyi was forced to control the repulsion force to deflect the quilt covering his face. Before the fist landed on Jingyi, Tsunade felt a strong impact, and then she tore the quilt covering Jingyi into several pieces. Tsunade, who raised her fist, was stunned for a moment. Jingyi, who turned over and stabilized the plate in his hand, was also stunned. It seems that this is not something that children can watch. Not suitable for young children, not suitable for children. Their eyes met, and they stared at each other briefly for a few seconds. Jingyi handed the plate to Tsunade, dropped a seal scroll, and ran away. There are my changes of clothes in the scroll. Although they are men's styles, they have not been worn. You can make do with them for now. What was that just now? Ninjutsu? No, it was more like a rebound impact centered on Jingyi. Tsunade's head was buzzing. She was thinking about what had just happened. She was sure that this was a secret hidden by Shizuchi, but she accidentally forced it out. Tsunade looked down at her body and laughed angrily. Okay, you kid, I'll settle the score with you later. If it were anyone else, she would definitely be embarrassed, angry, and embarrassed in this situation. Although Tsunade was one of the embarrassed ones, she could stabilize her emotions. If Shizuchi peeked or deliberately caused trouble, Tsunade would definitely be furious. Jiraiya, who was almost killed by a punch, is the best example. After opening the seal scroll, she picked out a suit of clothes that she liked and put them on. Tsunade picked up the plate and started eating. Jingyi, who was standing at the door with her ears pricked up, heard the sound of eating, and her heart dropped. The fact that Tsunade was eating meant that the situation was not as bad as he thought. Although I accidentally took advantage of it. After gently pushing the gate of opening and glancing into the room to make sure that Tsunade was dressed, Shizuchi walked in. Glancing at Jingyi from the corner of his eye, Tsunade said, "Grandma and I have calculated that the old man must be an insider in this matter, otherwise he wouldn't have sent someone to protect you. As for who is going to target you, I think you should have it in your mind clear. It should be Shimura Danzo. If the Hokage wants to target me, there is no need to go to such trouble, and he will not send people to protect me secretly." Jingyi pulled up a chair and sat down, analyzing. He's the only person in the village who would attack me. Although I don't understand what he plans to do. Master Hokage sent people to follow me, which means that Shimura Danzo cannot use the power of the village to attack me. It can only be done from outside the country. Power. The possibility of offering a bounty for assassination is unlikely, because I am in the camp, and it is difficult for ordinary ninjas to complete such an assassination mission. If the bounty is too high, it may cause some trouble for him, so foreign forces are the first choose. If nothing else, Rain Shinobi Village has a great chance. You mean, old guy Danzo can convince Rain Shinobi Village to send someone to assassinate you? Tsunade's hand holding the fork paused. Sancho Hanzo shouldn't be so stupid. Attacking the camp directly would be equivalent to declaring war on the village. It is impossible for Rain Shinobi Village to do such a risky thing. It's impossible for Rain Shinobi Village to attack the camp, but what about Hanzo? Episode 32. How about I suffer a little loss and pledge myself to you? Shurzwa shook his finger at Tsunade. As long as there are enough benefits, I think Hanzo, who has great ambitions, would not mind cooperating with Shimura Danzo once. With his strength, ordinary people can't stop him from sneaking into assassinations. Danzo Shimura couldn't take action himself because the risk of exposure was too high. Once the news of the assassination of a fellow village ninja was leaked, he would never be able to live with it. This is also why Third Hokage does not allow him to borrow the power of the village, just because he is worried that Shimura Danzo will accidentally get out of his way. Once the fun is lost and Uzumaki Mito gets angry, the ending will be difficult. Then asking for help became Shimura Danzo's only choice. Sanshiyu Hanzo is the most suitable candidate, and Jingyi is at the border camp of the Land of Rain. The distance here is very close, so there is no need to travel too far. Sancho Fish Hanzo. Tsunade frowned, because this person was not an ordinary person, but a being known as a demigod, which was enough to show how strong the opponent was. To put it bluntly, Sancho Hanzo's strength is definitely among the top in the ninja world. If he takes action, Jingyi's situation will be very dangerous. Judging from the strength shown by Shizuchi on paper, it is indeed very dangerous to be assassinated by a strong man like Sancho Hanzo. I asked specifically when I left. Shimura Danzo claimed that he had relapsed and was resting at home to recuperate. He may leave the village at any time to lobby enemies abroad to deal with you. Rest and recuperate? It was just an excuse so that he could leave the village quietly. Putting the last piece of meat into her mouth, Tsunade put the plate down and said seriously. Then what do you think? Are you trying to get transferred back to the village? No. Jingyi rejected the proposal. Uzumaki Mito came forward. Even if third Hokage was not happy, he was still willing to give him face and transfer him back. Why? Tsunade doesn't understand. You know that someone is going to deal with you secretly, but you still don't want to be transferred back? Jingyi said seriously, is there a possibility that Shimura Danzo just wants Mito-sama to come forward and transfer me back? Tsunade, people who are good at conspiracy have dirty minds. As long as they can achieve their goals, people like Shimura Danzo don't mind using some dirty methods. Regardless of how third Hokage stands unswervingly on Uzumaki Mito's side, as long as a situation is favorable to him, he doesn't mind being an uninformed person. Mito-sama is definitely not afraid of Shimura Danzo, but if you do something and make unpleasant noises, it can cause a lot of misunderstandings. Hatake Tsukumo is a lesson learned from the past. Tsunade hesitated to speak, but Shizuchi interrupted her and continued, Mito-sama's status is very special. Shimura Danzo will definitely not dare to target her openly, but I can't run away. As long as I am transferred back to the village, he will come on. Those ninjas stationed at the border camps will definitely not be happy, and their families will also complain. Public opinion is sometimes more terrifying than assassination. So we can only passively accept the attack? Tsunade hated this feeling of not being able to control the situation. Too passive. It doesn't count. Jingyi laughed, think about it, as long as I stay in the camp, he won't be able to manipulate public opinion against me. As for the assassination, he will first find a way to convince people who can assassinate me. After all, no one is a fool. There is not enough who would take the risk to do such a thing for his own interests. Sancho Hanzo is very strong, but is Sancho Hanzo stupid? Definitely not stupid. Without enough benefits, others will simply ignore him. Shimura Danzo. The embarrassing thing is that during this period, Danzo Shimura happened to be at a stage where his position was demolished and he was unable to control the power and interests of the village. If you don't have enough interests in hand, it's not that difficult to persuade Sancho Hanzo to take action. If you were Sancho Hanzo, would you help Shimura Danzo for no reason? Only a fool would do such a favor if there is not enough benefit. Tsunade shook her head decisively. She is not stupid, and neither is Sancho Hanzo. It depends on what benefits Shimura Danzo can offer to attract Sancho Hanzo. So your safety is no problem in a short period of time? Tsunade asked. Yes. Jing nodded. Then should we talk about what happened just now? Tsunade narrowed her eyes, walked towards the door first, and locked the wooden door of the room. Forehead. What does this little girl want to do? Is she going to settle the score later? Ahem. Jingyi tried his best to defend himself. Tsunade, you can't blame me for this. You covered my head with the quilt. I was still holding the plate in my hand. I can't let the plate fall. Then what do you think we should do? Does it look good? Nice. Jingyi feels that he is an honest young man, he cannot lie, and good looking is good looking. You. Tsunade, who wanted to attack directly, was unable to stop her. Are you, Hyuga, so upright? How about I suffer a little loss and pledge myself to you? Hyuga Jingyi, you must die for me. Wait, don't do it. If you have something to say, please say it. Damn, are you serious? I'm going to fight back. Wait a minute, I'm still a child, you can't do this. Tsunade roared, and everyone in the camp was awakened. Everyone rushed out of the wooden house and rushed towards the medical room. Etc. Others were not familiar with Tsunade, but Sarutobi Mishima was different. Realizing that the voice he just heard was a bit familiar, Sarutobi Mishima recalled it, his expression suddenly changed, and he quickly called out to the others. Mishima, people from the medical room. Honda turned around. Sarutobi Mishima raised his hand and rubbed his face, and said helplessly, It's Tsunade Heim, I'm sure it's her. Let's go back to sleep. We'll continue on duty, so don't disturb them. When did Tsunade Heim arrive at the camp? She was still in the medical room. In response to Tsunade Shizuchi's shouts, a group of big men in the camp all showed understanding looks, and a few of the more vulgar guys laughed, not forgetting to cast envious glances at the medical room. Ahem, except for those on duty, everyone else should go back to sleep. There's nothing wrong with you. Drive away a group of people who don't think it's a big deal. Honda took Sarutobi Mishima aside and asked in a low voice, "Are you sure it's Tsunadeheim?" She and Shizuchi. Don't worry about what you shouldn't, and let's go. Sarutobi Mishima didn't want to discuss this kind of thing with Honda. If Honda couldn't keep his mouth shut, he would be the unlucky one in the end. The camp, which had suddenly become lively, soon became quiet. Only the ninjas on duty looked towards the medical room curiously, wanting to know what was happening in the medical room. Tsunade, that's enough. Just kiss me. Why the hell are you still biting me? Jingyi rubbed his lips, as if the skin was broken. Tsunade licked her lips, as if thinking about it, shook her head after a moment and said, "It doesn't seem like there's anything special about it. Is it because you haven't grown up yet? What the hell? If it weren't for the god-tier gaze of the river crab, I would give you a high-low score to let you know what stick education is. Sleep." Bringing out a brand new quilt, Jingyi didn't want to pay attention to Tsunade, pulled the quilt over her and got ready to sleep. As for Tsunade, she either slept together or lying on the table. Fortunately, he had the foresight to know that the weather in the rain country was bad and the quilts might become damp and moldy when winter came, so he prepared a few extra beds. In this damn weather, a fool would sleep on the table. After all the reading and chewing, who the hell is still sleeping on the table? In the dark night, feeling a pair of dishonest hands getting into her clothes, Tsunade sneered. "Didn't you say that I am rough and unwomanly? Why are you extending your hand now?" Ahem. Jingyi coughed and changed the subject. "When will you go back?" "I can't stay too long." Tsunade originally planned to stay in the camp for a while, but after talking to Shizuchi, she realized that there was no use for her to stay. In a short period of time, Jingyi's safety is no problem. Even if their guess is correct, it will not be easy for Danzo Shimura to convince Hanzo Sancho to assassinate Shizuchi. Then go back tomorrow. If you stay too long, I'm afraid someone in the camp will be dissatisfied. As the new year approaches, everyone misses the village and their family. He has someone by his side and is the only female ninja in the entire camp. Some people may be curious at first, but as time goes by, some people will definitely become dissatisfied. Good. Tsunade is also not a mother-in-law. Early the next morning, Tsunade left the camp early and returned to the village, without even meeting the people in the camp. From her point of view, it's not necessary. Anyway, if you don't want to, just stay, it's just for one night, just leave. Episode 33. Jiraiya, I always feel like Tsunade has changed. As for what would happen if the news about her coming and going to the camp spread, this was not within the scope of Tsunade's consideration. After a long time, the impact will be bad, but if you only stay for one night, who dares to chatter? Tsunadeheim is gone? After Jingyi walked out of the medical room and made sure that he was alone, Honda and Sarutobi Mishima came closer. Jingyi stretched out and said, "I left early in the morning." Jingyi didn't say why Tsunade came. As for what happened last night, it's even more impossible to say. The two captains were very sensible and did not ask further questions. After confirming that Tsunade had left, he reminded Shizuchi to take a good rest and left. "I didn't do anything. You've just become addicted, what's the point of resting?" As the new year is approaching, the atmosphere in the campground has begun to change. Everyone has lost the enthusiasm they had when they first arrived, and many people frequently look toward the village. Obviously they all miss home and want to reunite with their families and celebrate the new year together. Nai, he has a mission. Before the next batch of ninjas come for rotation, he can only stay in the camp and cannot go anywhere. Ha ha ha, Toad Sage, Jiraiya-sama is back. With only 2 days before the new year, Jiraiya, who was out on a mission, finally returned to the village. "Old man, next time you have a mission like this, don't leave it to me. Go directly to Orochimaru. I'm exhausted." After submitting the task, Jiraiya started complaining loudly. "This mission took too long. Go back and rest quickly, prepare yourself, and have a good new year." Third Hokage smiled and changed the subject. Among the 3 disciples, his favorite was Orochimaru. Orochimaru also received the most care. Because of his personality, Jiraiya was the most obedient one. Therefore, when encountering some troublesome tasks, Third Hokage will hand them over to Jiraiya for execution. As for Tsunade, the medical department is too busy. Secondly, Tsunade will directly refuse some tasks. Orochimaru is more decisive. When he has money, he will be busy with his own experiments and research. As for tasks, he still asks Jiraiya. Bar. Old man, let's go. Rest is impossible. After leaving the Hokage office building, Jiraiya felt itchy and went straight to the hot spring hotel. Soon he was disappointed. Because of winter and New Year, there was no one in the hot spring hotel. Jiraiya, who wanted to indulge his eyes, was disappointed. If you can't satisfy your eyes, you can only satisfy your mouth. Jiraiya went to Orochimaru, dragged Orochimaru out of the research room, and then took Tsunade to gather together in the tavern. TSK. I'm finally alive. This mission was so annoying that I almost died from exhaustion. While drinking some wine, Jiraiya kept complaining. Orochimaru listened quietly, going in one ear and out the other as usual. After complaining for a long time, Jiraiya suddenly felt that the atmosphere was not quite right. Orochimaru is still the same Orochimaru who ignored him and treated everything he said as nonsense. And Tsunade. Jiraiya found something wrong. In the past, when the three of them got together, Tsunade would curse or even hit someone when he complained. This time, Tsunade didn't curse, let alone hit. What happened after I left the village? Zeely also blinked blankly. Tsunade, is the food not to your liking? Tsunade has always liked the food in this restaurant in the past, so why didn't she use her chopsticks much today? Maybe the taste has changed. It doesn't taste as good as before. Tsunade rarely got angry at Jiraiya. Instead, she curiously asked Jiraiya about any interesting things he encountered during his mission. Long live. Is this still the Tsunade I know? Jiraiya opened his mouth so wide that he almost fell on the table. Orochimaru, who was quietly tasting wine, also felt a little strange. Tsunade was too quiet today. Orochimaru couldn't think of a reason. Since the team was disbanded, the three of them spent less and less time together. It had been a long time since the last time they met. After eating, everyone dispersed. Jiraiya has found his loyal little fanboy Nawaki. Is there anything wrong with your sister recently? No. Holding the book brought by Jiraiya in his hand, Naoki was reading it with gusto, and said without raising his head when he heard the words. Maybe it's because she doesn't have a good appetite, not just her, but Kushina too. After Jingyi left, we didn't have delicious food for a long time. Shizuchi? Tsunade's little apprentice? Jiraiya was stunned. Shinshu said dissatisfied, what a little apprentice, Jingyi is just learning from my sister, not a teacher's apprentice, my sister doesn't even admit to having a disciple. Hey. Soon, Naoki's mind was immersed in the book, leaving Jiraiya sitting aside, scratching his head. He felt like he was missing something. But I can't tell. Compared to Konoha, which is full of red lanterns, the border camp is still the same. Honda made 2 lanterns with red paper and hung them at the entrance of the camp to celebrate the arrival of the new year. Unfortunately, the red lanterns did not have any effect, and instead caused many ninja misses his family even more. Nothing will happen. Noticing that the atmosphere in the camp was not pleasant, Jingyi could only shake his head. Many people are missing their families and looking forward to returning home soon, but the village has shown no sign of their return. That's all for the rest of the time. With the new year coming, shouldn't we send some supplies to reward the ninjas stationed at the border? Konoha is so poor that it cannot give anything to reward the ninjas stationed at the border. It has no expression at all. It can only be said that the F4 Tiantuan group is not doing anything. Getting closer. Somewhere in the dark, Jingyi felt that the third fetal movement of the reincarnated eye was coming. On the night of New Year's Day, the third fetal movement of the reincarnated eye came as scheduled. Jingyi, who was well prepared, took out the white cloth he had prepared in advance to cover his eyes, and lay peacefully on the bed. 3 fetal movements, each lasting longer than the last one. It may be that he does not have the Akatsuki chakra, so the fetal movement of the reincarnated eye lasts longer. The interval is also quite long. As the only medical ninja in the entire border camp, Jingyi has always been the most valued one. When they found out that he had a white cloth covering his face, everyone in the camp became nervous. Jingyi, are your eyes okay? Honda was very nervous. Nothing can happen to Jingyi. As a member of the 3rd Hokage, Sarutobi Mishima knew some inside information. Jingyi, have the sequelae of Byakugan degeneration started again? Yes, my eyes feel uncomfortable and I feel like something is beating. During this period, I am afraid of strong light and cannot take action at will. During this period, everyone must protect themselves. The sequelae have appeared twice before, and each time they lasted for a period of time. I don't know how long they will last this time. Damn it. After listening to Jingyi's story, Honda said angrily, Hokage-sama should transfer you back. You are not in good health to begin with. This. Sarutobi Mishima could hear Honda's words being very resentful. As a member of the third Hokage, his natural attitude was a little awkward, so it was difficult for him to accept these words. Jingyi smiled and shook his head, comforting Honda, who was a little anxious. Captain, I have already encountered this experience twice. I can take care of myself during this period, so there is no need for rotation. If someone is injured, can you treat it? Honda asked what he was most worried about. As a medical ninja, your duty is to treat and rescue the wounded. If he can't even save people, then this medical ninja will become a decoration. Episode 34. Feeding from the little rich woman Kushina. Simple treatment and surgery are no problem. Captain, don't worry. I'm just not suitable for fighting. It doesn't mean I can't use ninjutsu. In fact, Jingyi was not very affected. As long as he was not looking directly into the bright light, everything else was fine. He could use medical ninjutsu or fight without any problem. To make the situation more serious is just to show weakness. Jingyi was not sure if there were anyone from Shimura Danzo in the camp. If so, then showing weakness is the best way to trick people. If Shimura Danzo takes the opportunity to attack him, Shizuchi will definitely give him a big surprise. That's good. Shao Honda breathed a sigh of relief. Jingyi, you can stay in the medical room to recuperate with peace of mind. You don't have to worry about anything else. Mishima and I will be responsible. During the recovery period of your eyes, I will ask everyone to be careful and reduce the risk as much as possible. The possibility of injury will reduce your trouble. If you recover as soon as possible, we can all feel at ease. After comforting Jing for a few words, Honda and Sarutobi Mishima left together. After leaving the medical room, Honda complained, Mishima and Shizuchi should not have been selected. Do you know what happened? I have no idea. Just kidding, how can you tell such a thing? Don't explain it clearly, just a little guess. Even if you know it, you can't say it. Something bad will happen. Don't worry, you will get better soon. Jingyi's current situation has appeared twice in the village before, and he recovered soon. Don't think too much, let everyone not worry about this matter. That's all it can do. The sequelae caused by Jingyi Bayan's degeneration occurred again, and the news was quickly sent out of the camp. That night, the third Hokage in Konoha had already received the news. The news was delivered by Sarutobi Mishima. Danzo, what will you do? Shizuchi has a physical problem, which is a good opportunity for Shimura Danzo to strike. But there is a risk of exposure if you start. Third Hokage is very curious about what the other party will do. Third Hokage believes that Shimura Danzo must have channels to obtain the same information. Knowing that there is something wrong with Shizuchi's health, whether Shimura Danzo will take action has become the biggest concern of Third Hokage. Snort. After receiving the same information, Shimura Danzo snorted and threw the information scroll into the furnace and burned it directly. The third Hokage knows very well what kind of person Shimura Danzo is, and conversely, Shimura Danzo also knows what the third Hokage is like. Cooperating with him and tacitly allowing him to take action is the last line. Once he reaches the bottom line, third Hokage will sell him without hesitation. As an ambitious man with the goal of becoming a Hokage, Shimura Danzo would not push himself into a trap just to get revenge on Shizuchi. Shizuchi's physical problem seems to have given him a suitable opportunity to strike, but from Shimura Danzo's point of view, this is not an opportunity at all, but a trap. It's obvious why Tsunade went to the border camp. The third Hokage seemed to acquiesce to his revenge, but in fact, it forced a patch. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Looking up towards the Hokage office building, Shimura Danzo felt angry and his teeth were tickling. In order to prevent himself from being involved, he could only suffer from Danzo. This is exactly what the third Hokage did. If it is patched, Shimura Danzo can successfully assassinate Shizuchi, and the third Hokage will recognize it. As long as Shimura Danzo doesn't use the power of the village, he can't be blamed anyway. All anger will be directed towards Shimura Danzo. Jingyi, are your eyes feeling better? Can you take care of yourself? Since the third fetal movement of the reincarnated eye, Jingyi has not left the medical room. He even prepares food and drinks by himself, without passing through anyone else's hands. Although his medical ninjutsu is good, in this critical period, it is better to be careful. It's still the same. It will last for a while. It may not get better until the new year. Captain, do you have anything to do with me? The face is covered with cloth and cannot see anything, but it does not affect Jingyi's ability to move. The powerful perception and response of gravity and repulsion are enough to replace the eyes. Don't bother. It's a cold day. It's better to drink less water, otherwise you'll have to go to the toilet all the time. Xiaohanda stopped Jingyi, who wanted to pour water, then took out a scroll from his arms and handed it to him. A ninja from the village came to the camp just now and said that he was sending this scroll to you on the order of Tsunade Heim. An ordinary seal scroll, in which there are various things that Tsunade bought. The person who bought the things was Tsunade, but the person who paid the money was Kushina. Kushina became depressed after learning that Jingyi was transferred to a border camp and would not be able to return to the village for at least a year. Because her only friend just left her and it would take at least a whole year to come back. As for the little yellow hair, he can only be considered half a friend. So Kushina and Tsunade put together a plan, bought a bunch of things, threw them into the seal scroll, and sent someone to deliver them to Shizuchi. Captain, I'm sorry to trouble you. Putting the scroll away, Jingyi smiled and thanked Xiaohanda. Honda waved his hand quickly, don't say thank you. As the captain of the camp, you should take care of your teammates and companions. I will be on duty later, so I won't disturb your rest. After sending Xiaohanda away, Jingyi opened the scroll, scanned the scroll with his senses, and then his whole body froze. Has the vegetable market been moved here? Who bought it, Tsunade? No, Tsunade is just a poor guy. She has a lot of money, and there is only one person who buys things for him regardless of the cost, the little rich woman Kushina. It's hard to repay this favor to the little rich woman. Tsunade hasn't sorted things out yet. Jingyi scratched his head and started to have a headache. As a man, he definitely doesn't mind having a few more girlfriends, or a few more women, but if it's Kushina and Tsunade. Hiss, something big will happen. Both have hot tempers, both are strong, and both have explosive fighting prowess. Now Tsunade is strong and Kushina is weak. When Kushina becomes Nine Tails Jinchuriki and grows up, her strength will surpass Tsunade. Thinking of the scene where the two sisters were fighting, Jingyi felt a little numb. Forget it, let's talk about the future things later. At least you don't need to worry about this kind of thing now. Jingyi picked out some vegetables and a piece of beef and prepared to have a good meal. The conditions in the camp were really average. If he wanted to eat well, there was basically no hope. The most he could do was go hunting and eat some barbecue. Forget about the rest. Captain Mishima, can you do me a favor? You say. Sarutobi Mishima walked into the medical room. Jingyi pointed to the open space next to the medical room. Captain Mishima, please bring a few people to help me shovel the ice and snow here, and then use ice cubes to make a box. The box should be bigger. Vegetables can also be kept indoors, and the perishable ones should be eaten first. Meat must be processed well. Make some bacon, air-dried meat, and freeze the rest in a natural refrigerator. Good. Although he didn't understand what Shizuchi wanted to do with an ice cube box, Sarutobi Mishima didn't refuse him and called a group of people over, who then started working. Fortunately, Jingyi would not let their work go in vain, and directly stewed a large pot of beef and roasted potatoes, which was enough. Jingyi, we have dug it out, what is this thing going to be used for? Freeze some meat, otherwise it will spoil if there is too much. When Jingyi took out pieces of meat from the seal scroll and threw them into the natural refrigerator, the surrounding ninjas were dumbfounded. This is too arrogant. We won't be short of meat in the future? A ninja muttered to himself. Sarutobi Mishima slapped him angrily. Tsunade Heim bought this for Shizuchi, not for the camp. Want to eat it? Ask your wife to buy it for you. The meat that needs to be frozen is thrown into the natural refrigerator, then covered with ice cubes, and everything is ready. Phew, it's delicious. Do you want to dig out ice cubes tomorrow? I promise to come as soon as possible. Ha ha ha, I'm coming too. Count me in. A group of people were eating hot beef and potatoes and thinking about tomorrow's meal, which made Jingyi laugh. Episode 35. Sand Shinobi Village provokes, Konoha wants to fight back. Jingyi would not take such a joke seriously, and of course, he would not agree foolishly. It's not that he is stingy, but it's troublesome to cook for too many people. And he can't always use Kushina's small treasury to subsidize the village's ninjas, right? The new year is here, and the ninjas in the camp used their limited resources to hold a party as a celebration of the new year. Jingyi did not join in the fun. Plop. Plop. Lying on the bed, Jingyi silently felt the fetal movement of the reincarnated eye. Konoha, Senju, old house. What's wrong, girl, are you unhappy? Uzumaki Mito rubbed Kushina's long red hair, and Kushina forced a smile. No, I'm very happy, grandma. Alas. Uzumaki Mito sighed and hugged Kushina tightly. Feeling aggrieved, Kushina whispered. Grandma, I'm not happy. I thought I could spend a lively new year with Jingyi. He is my only friend, but I didn't expect that he went directly to the border camp. I heard from Sister Tsunade that the weather there was very bad, and I didn't know how he was doing well. He should miss me. What can I say? Uzumaki Mito opened his mouth several times but was unable to utter words of comfort, and could only accompany Kushina quietly. As for Tsunade and Naoki. Naoki ran to play with his classmates, while Tsunade was called to a meeting. It was a meeting on New Year's Eve. It wasn't that third Hokage liked to torment people, but it was an important meeting that had to be held. In the conference room on the first floor of the Hokage office building, a major meeting was held here. In addition to the third Hokage, the two representatives of the elders, the representatives of the Jonin class, and other people who were qualified to participate in the meeting, everyone in the dojo was basically present. Except for those who went out on missions and did not return to the village, and the unlucky guy Shimura Danzo, the rest of the people were basically here. The third Hokage held his pipe in his mouth and smoked boredly. As Hokage, he delivered a speech. Today is New Year's Eve. Everyone should spend a good new year at home with their families, including me, but the enemy will obviously not let us have a lively and stable new year. Since last year, the ninjas from Sand Shinobi Village have frequently entered Kawanobi country and constantly provoked the village. They have violated the peace regulations signed by the 5 major ninja villages. The first ninja war broke the peaceful ninja world created by Senju Hashirama and tore into pieces the peace document signed by Senju Hashirama. With the end of the first ninja war, the villages began to sit down for peace talks and re-signed peace documents. As time went by, the strength of each village gradually recovered, and some villages began to show their ambitions, bearing their fames towards their neighbors and launching frequent provocations. The existence of the small country sandwiched between the great ninja village is to become a buffer zone between the two big countries, reducing friction and contradictions between the big countries, thereby reducing the probability of war. Once one party sends people into a small country serving as a buffer zone in a high-profile manner, it will be regarded as a provocation by the other party. At this moment, Sand Shinobi Village is provoking Konoha. Just Sand Shinobi Village, Rain Shinobi Village is not stable either. Under the leadership of Sanshuyu Hanzo, the demigod, Rain Shinobi Village is growing in strength. Like Shimura Danzo, Sancho Hanzo is also an ambitious person. His ambition is to lead Rain Shinobi Village to thrive, continue to become stronger, and then gain the qualification to be on par with the 5 major shinobi villages. Let yourself be crowned with the honorific title of Yuing. He doesn't want to hear others call him the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, he wants to be the Rain Shadow. Taking a strong drag on the cigarette and blowing out a lot of smoke from his mouth, third Hokage continued, in addition to Sand Shinobi Village, Rain Shinobi Village, under the leadership of Hanzo Sanshuyu, also frequently tests the bottom line of the village. This demigod is an ambitious leader. Compared to Rain Shinobi Village, the village should pay more attention to Sand Shinobi Village. Koharu took over the words of third Hokage after moving to bed. Rain Shinobi Village is only as powerful as a small country. Even with the demigod Sancho Hanzo, it cannot threaten the village, so the focus of our village's defense should be Sand Shinobi Village. Sancho Hanzo is very powerful. If you don't have enough strength, you wouldn't dare to call yourself a demigod. But being strong alone is useless. Unless you can become the second Senju Hashirama or the second Uchiha Madara, you won't be able to intimidate others at all. The powerful Sancho Hanzo leads Rain Shinobi Village, which can only threaten other small countries and villages, but cannot threaten the status of the 5 major shinobi villages. Because the two sides are not on the same level in terms of size. It is useless for one person to be strong, let alone Rain Shinobi Village, even if it is placed in the 5 major shinobi villages, it is useless. The former Senju Tobarama was powerful enough, and Konoha was not weak either. The combination of the two still could not deter those who were ambitious. The Gold and Silver brothers will launch a coup if they say they want to launch a coup, and if they want to launch a war, they will launch a war. Who the hell cares about you, Senju Tobarama? If you replace Senju Hashirama, the gold and silver brothers will definitely stay on their knees, but you, Senju Tobarama, are nothing. In the same way, among the 5 leaders of the ninja village, 3rd Raikage can be said to be the most terrifying and difficult one. The overall strength of Yin Ninja Village is not weak, so the question is, can Yin Ninja Village suppress the other villages? Not to mention suppressing everything, 1 Inoki and 1 Iwa Ninja Village are enough to give the Cloud Ninja Village a headache. Therefore, no matter how good Rain Shinobi Village is, it is just a clown. Only Sand Shinobi Village is worthy of Konoha's attention. Paying attention to Sand Shinobi Village is the right strategy. The question is how to pay attention to it. It's better not to immediately send people into Kawa no Kuni to provoke the other party after being provoked by Sand Shinobi Village. Everyone looked at the 3rd Hokage, wondering what their Hokage-sama thought of this issue. The village cannot defend passively. Since the enemy has already taken action, we should also take action. Being passive will only make the opponent worse. One sentence from 3rd Hokage basically means that Konoha will fight back. How to fight back still needs to be discussed. Lord Hokage, it is not the best choice to rashly send people into the country of Sichuan. As the Hokage's advisor and leader of the Jonin class, Nara Shikami put forward his own suggestions. The enemy is provoking us, we should fight back, but we should start from other aspects, instead of imitating Sand Shinobi Village and invading Kawa no Kuni. Nara Luxian's words attracted everyone's attention. The 3rd Hokage hesitated and said, "Dear heart, you mean the Land of Rain?" To be able to secure the throne of Hokage, there is no need to question the 3rd Hokage's ability, and his political sense is equally sensitive. Isn't Sand Shinobi Village provocative? Rain Shinobi Village is not stable either, so why not send people into the Kingdom of Rain to stimulate the nerves of Sand Shinobi Village and let Sand Shinobi Village focus on the Kingdom of Rain? The invasion of Konoha and Sand Shinobi Village can also suppress the development of Rain Shinobi Village and the ambition of Sancho Hanzo. I think Luxian's idea is very good. Since it responds to the provocation of Sand Shinobi Village, it can also suppress the development and ambition of Rain Shinobi Village. As expected of a person with the smartest brain, he can connect Rain Shinobi Village and Sand Shinobi Village together in just a few words. Many people in the conference room were talking in low voices. Tsunade, who was crossing her arms, frowned when she heard. Everyone, Senior Luxian's proposal is very good. Not surprisingly, it will shift Sand Shinobi Village's attention to the Land of Rain. With the entry of the village and Sand Shinobi Village, the development of Rain Shinobi Village will definitely be affected. So have you ever thought about the reaction of Iwa Ninja Village? Why did Sand Shinobi Village provoke Konoha in Kawanobi Village instead of going to Rain Shinobi Village? Is Sand Shinobi Village afraid of Rain Shinobi Village and Sancho Hanzo? No, it's just that Sand Shinobi Village or 3rd generation Kazekage doesn't want to provoke 2 powerful enemies at once. Provoking in the country of Kawa will only provoke Konoha. Provoking in the country of Rain will not only make Konoha nervous, but even the nerves of Iwa Ninja Village will be stimulated. After all, the Kingdom of Rain borders the Kingdom of Fire, Kingdom of Wind, and Kingdom of Earth. Once one party moves here, it is tantamount to provoking 2 powerful opponents. Don't formulate a strategy to target Sand Shinobi Village and Rain Shinobi Village, but in the end, Iwa Ninja Village was also dragged in. Episode 36. Danzo colludes with Sanchoyu Hanzo. Tsunade slapped the table and said loudly. The Kingdom of Rain has a special geographical environment and borders the Kingdom of Fire, the Kingdom of Wind, and the Kingdom of Earth. Once we send people into the Kingdom of Rain, we provoke the Sand Shinobi Village and at the same time stimulate the nerves of the Kingdom of Earth. Will Inoki sit back and ignore it when the time comes? Luxian, do you have anything to say about this? The 3rd Hokage glanced at Nara Lushin. Nara stood up with a smile and said calmly, Tsunade-heim, if the village sends people into the country of Rain, it will indeed stir up the nerves of Sand Shinobi Village, Rain Shinobi Village and even Iwa Shinobi Village at the same time, but we also need to consider the enemies of Iwa Ninja Village. In the past 2 years, Yin Ninja Village has frequently harassed and attacked the border of Earth Kingdom. Many small-scale conflicts have broken out between Iwa Ninja Village and Yin Ninja Village. I think everyone should understand what I mean. Even if Iwa Ninja Village is eventually involved, the enemy we need to face should be Sand Shinobi Village, not Iwa Ninja Village. Dare to propose such a plan, Nara Lushin also considered the existence of Iwa Ninja Village. Fortunately, Iwa Ninja Village and Kumo Ninja Village have been in conflict in recent years, with constant friction, which gave Konoha an opportunity. However, such a plan is somewhat risky. Fortunately, IWA Ninja Village did not participate on a large scale. Once IWA Ninja Village sends a large number of ninjas to join the battle, Konoha may be besieged. I hope so. Now that Nara Lushin has considered this, Tsunade, who originally didn't like to deal with such things, simply stopped talking. This is just a targeted meeting, not a combat meeting, because Konoha has no intention of starting a war with Sand Shinobi Village. At least not yet. After the meeting, the contents of the meeting were sent directly to Shimura Danzo. Shimura Danzo, who was thinking about how to persuade Hanzo, knew that his opportunity had come. Time passed day by day, and the camp was still the same. The new year did not bring any changes to the camp. Shizuchi, who was still waiting for the fetal movement of the reincarnated eye to end, didn't know that the trigger for the second ninja war was about to break out. In the Hokage anime and Hokage comics, there is not much information about the second ninja war. It is simply explained that it was caused by the uneven economic development of villages in various countries. Then a huge war broke out. The country of Rain directly became a battlefield. Konoha fought with Sand Shinobi Village, IWA Ninja Village fought with Konoha, Sand Shinobi Village fought with IWA Ninja Village, and then the unbearable Sancho Hanzo led Rain Shinobi Village to Konoha and Sand Shinobi Village. Village and IWA Ninja Village declared war, exacerbating the situation of this massive war. The three major shinobi villages beat each other's heads, and then fought with each other and the Rain Shinobi Village. The entire Kingdom of Rain is in chaos. Rain Shinobi Village, several special guests came and were received by Sancho Hanzo. In the spacious office, only Shimura Danzo and Sancho Hanzo sat together. I don't know why Assistant Hokage came to my Rain Shinobi Village. Shimura Danzo was beaten to the end because he offended Uzumaki Mito. This kind of thing was disgraceful after all. Only a few people in Konoha knew about it and it was not publicized to the outside world. Therefore, Sancho Hanzo didn't know that Shimura Danzo sitting in front of him was no longer a Hokage assistant. I came here for a deal that is beneficial to both Rain Shinobi Village and Konoha. Shimura Danzo said calmly. What deal? Sancho Hanzo frowned. He was not someone who allowed himself to be manipulated by others, even if Shimura Danzo represented Konoha. Rain Shinobi Village has become much more active than before under his leadership, overtly and covertly taking away some interests belonging to Konoha. But there is no talk of enmity with the wood industry, because this little benefit is not worth the two villages going to war. Shimura Danzo said calmly, Sand Shinobi Village frequently sent people into Kawanobi Village to provoke Konoha, and the village held a meeting for this purpose. During the meeting, someone mentioned Rain Shinobi Village and believed that Rain Shinobi Village's strength has been formed. Threatening, so I want to move the Hokage and send people into the country of Rain to attract the attention of Sand Shinobi Village and IWA Ninja Village. What? Sanshuu Hanzo's face changed drastically and he stood up angrily. Who suggested this? Doesn't this put Rain Shinobi Village on the line? When Konoha sends people into the land of Rain, Sand Shinobi Village will definitely follow. Once Sand Shinobi Village also follows, IWA Ninja Village will not ignore it. The friction between the three villages may trigger a war at any time. At that time, the Kingdom of Rain will become a battlefield for Konoha, Sand Shinobi Village, and IWA Ninja Village. It doesn't matter who made the suggestion. What's important is that Rain Shinobi Village is already a threat in the eyes of the 5 great ninja villages. What does this guy mean? After experiencing the initial panic, Sanshuu Hanzo quickly calmed down. He did not believe that he would come here to see him for no reason, and share such important information. There must be a purpose, and even the intention is not small. Then here comes the problem. Rain Shinobi Village and even the Land of Rain, there is something worthy of this Hokage assistant to worry about. Duanzo, tell me your purpose. After calming down, Sanshuu Hanzo sat back on his chair and poured himself a glass of water. Kill someone for me, and I will try my best in the village to oppose their proposal to enter the Kingdom of Rain. Shimura Danzo was not in the mood to play suspicious with Sanshuu Hanzo and stated his purpose straight away. Kill? Hanzo instantly became vigilant and stared at Shimura Danzo carefully. Duanzo, you came all the way and brought the information the village needs. I am very grateful to you, but I and Rain Shinobi Village will not intervene in Konoha. To internal conflicts. Is the information brought by Shimura Danzo important? It's important, otherwise Sanshuu Hanzo wouldn't say, I'm grateful to you. But Sanshuu Hanzo would not accept the other party's proposal. If Shimura Danzo can throw out such a bait to attract him, then the person Shimura Danzo wants to kill must not be simple, maybe it is a high-level person in Konoha. Once he does it, it will be a declaration of war on Konoha, and Rain Shinobi Village cannot withstand Konoha's anger. Hyuga Jingyi, this is your target. The opponent is just a medical ninja, not very strong, but he is very valued by Mito-sama, so I can't take action. Not a high-level official in Konoha, just a small medical ninja, but the other party is valued by the big boss Mito Uzumaki? Sanshuyu Hanzo was confused for a moment as to what Shimura Danzo wanted to do. The medical ninja is not very strong. With Shimura Danzo's strength and methods, he should be able to kill the opponent easily. How could he beg me for help? Is this a trap? Wait, Hyuga, the person Shimura Danzo wants to kill is a member of the Hyuga clan? This is the information. I will leave one person behind and wait for the news. After the incident is completed, I will try my best to lobby others to prevent the village from sending people into the Kingdom of Rain. Besides, this matter was your own behavior from beginning to end. It has nothing to do with me, and I will not admit today's transaction. Leaving Shizuchi's information behind, Shimura Danzo got up and left. If the village had not held a meeting for San Shinobi Village, it would be difficult for him to convince Sanshuyu Hanzo. But it was different now. The initiative was in his hands. For the sake of Rain Shinobi Village and the country of Rain, Hanzo had to agree. Duanzo, I haven't promised you yet. Episode 37. Is the second ninja war about to begin? Shimura Danzo dropped the information and left, picking himself cleanly. Hanzo's nose was so angry that it was crooked. Who the hell do you think I am? I, Sanshuyu Hanzo, am your subordinate? But Shimura Danzo had no intention of looking back and was still walking outside, but not very fast. You have no right to refuse, unless you are willing to watch the Kingdom of Rain become a battlefield and watch the people of the Kingdom of Rain suffer from the harm of the war. In addition, you don't have much time. I hope to receive your good news. Damn. Sanshuyu Hanzo wanted to chop Shimura Danzo to death or poison him, but he didn't dare to take action. Shimura Danzo had the confidence to come to Rain Shinobi Village to see him, and the other party made it clear that he had no choice. Unless he, Sanshuyu Hanzo, can watch the country become a battlefield and watch the people of the Rain Kingdom being harmed by the war. Chief, should we take him down? Roll. The furious Sanshuyu Hanzo roared at his subordinates. This is a conspiracy and a conspiracy. As Shimura Danzo said, he has no right to choose. Because he will face enemies like San Shinobi Village, Iwa Ninja Village, and Konoha. Among the three major shinobi villages, Rain Shinobi Village has no choice. Danzo. The limited information and a verbal promise forced him to come to Taiwan. Huh. After a while, Sanshuyu Hanzo calmed down, picked up the information on the table and looked at it carefully. Bloodstain disease? In the ninja world, bloodstain disease is not a rare disease. Ninja families with blood inheritance boundaries have more or less such symptoms, whether they are Uchiha or Hyuga, including ninja families outside Konoha. Is a little medical ninja worthy of Shimura Danzo going to such great lengths? Sanshuyu Hanzo didn't believe things could be that simple. It's really that simple. Shimura Danzo took action himself. As for why he couldn't take action easily, that's all nonsense. This old guy was scrupulous, so he didn't dare to take action, so he came to him. It was too difficult to pry out the information, and Shimura Danzo had no intention of explaining it. If he was really fired from his position and given a slap in the face because he warned Jingyi, I'm afraid Sanjia Hanzo would laugh to death. Kill people, or watch the village and country become a battlefield and become a victim of the great power. What made Hanzo the most angry was that Shimura Danzo only gave him a verbal promise. Regardless of whether the assassination was successful or not, it was Hanzo's own business and had nothing to do with Shimura Danzo. Others will not admit to seeing him, let alone such a thing. It's not a good feeling to be manipulated. Before his dream of being on an equal footing with the five Kages comes true, the land of rain will become a battlefield first, and Hanzo the Sanshuyu cannot accept this result. Duanzo, you'd better keep your word, otherwise. At night. The puppet crow flew into the camp and landed on the window of the medical room. Jingyi opened the window, let the puppet fly in, and untied the information scroll from the puppet's feet. After opening the scroll, he controlled the puppet and used the puppet's sight to see the contents of the scroll. Yes, a blindfolded Jingyi can see through the puppet's vision. The information scroll was sent by Tsunade and the puppet crow became the tool bird for her and Tsunade to convey information and letters. Emergency meeting? Why is Sand Shinobi Village provoking Konoha at this time? Is the Second Ninja War about to begin? No, the time is wrong. According to the original time, there will still be at least 3 to 4 years before the Second Ninja War breaks out. After all, war doesn't just break out. It's too involved. So where did Sand Shinobi Village's provocation come from? Are you so eager to eat a piece of fat from the Fire Nation? The country of wind is too poor. The Fire Nation is rich in resources, and too rich. This resulted in Konoha developing much faster than Sand Shinobi Village during the same period of time, to the point where it was so far behind that you couldn't even see the rear lights. Since the establishment of Shinobi Village, Sand Shinobi Village has always wanted to take a piece of meat from the land of fire. The growing military power has made some people in Sand Shinobi Village have their thoughts, such as the third-generation Kazekage, and the Chiyo siblings. These are all hardliners and militants in Sand Shinobi Village. Tisk, as expected, those who play tricks with their brains can never have a pure heart. Seeing Nara Lushin suggesting transferring the fire to the Kingdom of Rain, Jingyi couldn't help but grin. This was a poisonous trick, in response to the provocation of Sand Shinobi Village, and in disguise, it began to suppress the development of Rain Shinobi Village. With one blow, Hanzo's dream of becoming a Rain Shadow was shattered, allowing him to carefully consider the potential of Rain Shinobi Village. How much energy? As for the IWA Ninja Village, if the 3 major ninja villages all started a real fire and started a big brawl in the Land of Rain, Konoha would not be particularly disadvantaged. Sand Shinobi Village and IWA Shinobi Village cannot suddenly cooperate to besiege Konoha. In addition, there is a Rain Shinobi Village in the Land of Rain, which is not as powerful as it is, which will only muddy the water. Etc. Is the village planning to send people into the Land of Rain to attract the attention of Sand Shinobi Village and respond to Sand Shinobi Village's provocation? Konoha's operation was timely and critical. It was critical to the village and to Shimura Danzo. With Shimura Danzo's personality, he might take this matter against Sancho Hanzo. And Sanshuyu Hanzo, the demigod, seems to have been tricked by Shimura Danzo many times. Shimura Danzo knows how to handle demigods. Jingyi didn't believe that Shimura Danzo would let go of such a good opportunity, unless he didn't want to attack him anymore. Otherwise, without resorting to the power of the village and without coming forward, Sanshuyu Hanzo is a very sharp knife. The most important thing is to use it easily. After using it, you can pat your butt and run away without admitting responsibility. Don't ask, asking is slander, and none of this has anything to do with me. You really know how to choose your timing. After destroying the scroll sent by Tsunade, Shizuchi felt that he needed to make some preparations because he was not sure whether Shimura Danzo had persuaded Sancho Hanzo. With Sanshuyu Hanzo being persuaded, it is impossible to predict when he will take action. The camp is very close to the Land of Rain. With Hanzo's strength, he can run to the camp and take a walk at any time. This demigod's teleportation and physical skills are terrifyingly strong, and what's even more terrifying is the poison that even he himself needs to guard against. To put it bluntly, if Sanshuyu Hanzo just runs into the camp and takes a walk, he can easily poison a bunch of people. Sand Shinobi Village's provocation and the village's plan indirectly helped Shimura Danzo a big favor, giving him the opportunity to easily control Sancho Hanzo. Episode 38. Sanshuyu Hanzo backhandedly sold Danzo. Shimura Danzo is definitely not a man of his word, but Sancho Hanzo has no choice. Just like Shimura Danzo said, you have no right to choose, you can only trust me and believe that I will help lobby. Duanzo, you like to tease others, don't you? Jingyi took out a scroll, tied it to the puppet crow's foot, and controlled the puppet to fly in the direction of Rain Shinobi Village. Want to get rid of me and pluck yourself clean with the help of Sanshuyu Hanzo? There are no doors. Shizuchi is sure that Sancho Hanzo doesn't know about Shimura Danzo masturbating in his position. Only Shimura Danzo, who is Hokage's assistant, can help lobby and help Rain Shinobi Village. If Shimura Danzo no longer has the position of assistant to the Hokage and is just a conspirator hiding at home to rest, will Sanjo Hanzo still listen to him? The puppet crow flew to Rain Shinobi Village, found the building where the leader of Rain Shinobi Village had his office, aimed at one of the ninjas standing guard, threw the scroll down, and then turned around and flew away. What? Noticing something falling from the sky, the ninja on duty subconsciously grabbed the scroll that fell from the sky and looked around in confusion. He couldn't see anything in the dark night sky with rain. Scroll? Who sent it? Is someone watching me? The Rain Shinobi Village ninja on duty was startled. After checking again and again to make sure that no one was there, he hid in a place where the rain could not reach him and opened the scroll. After opening the scroll, he took a quick look at the contents before his expression suddenly changed. He quickly put away the scroll and rushed towards Sancho Hanzo's office. Dong dong dong. Come in. Sancho Hanzo's tone was not very good, because he was still hesitating whether to agree to Shimura Danzo's deal. Chief, someone sent an intelligence scroll. The ninja on duty brought the scroll up. Sanshuyu Hanzo picked up the scroll and asked, who threw it? Sneaking into the village so brazenly? Are you taking yourself too seriously and not paying attention to me, Hanzo the Sancho fish? Have no idea. The ninjas on duty shrank their necks for fear of being blamed or punished by their leader. Okay, let's get down. Sanshuyu Hanzo was inevitably a little disappointed. Compared to the 5 major ninja villages, the ninjas in Rain Shinobi Village were still a little unreliable. Except for himself, there were not many ninjas who could stand alone. After all, the Kingdom of Rain is so big, and there are only so many people who can become ninjas. You can't just pick and choose. As long as you can extract chakra, you can get it. Although the number of ninjas has increased, the quality is not very good. Among many small countries and small villages, it is considered unique. If compared with the 5 major ninja villages, it will not be on the stage. After waving his hand for the ninja on duty to retreat, Sanshuyu Hanzo opened the scroll and read it. Aha! Glancing at the scroll, Sanshuyu Hanzo, who was wearing a respirator, stared wide-eyed. Shimura Danzo's position as Hokage's assistant has been removed? Then this guy came up to me and tried to tease me. Hateful. After being fooled, Shimura Danzo simply wanted to use some information to manipulate him. All lobbying and transactions were nonsense, because at this time, Shimura Danzo was not qualified at all. Duanzo, how dare you play tricks on me? Thinking that I had been struggling for 2 days, fearful of all kinds, fearing that a war would break out in the Land of Rain, fearing that Konoha would drag Rain Shinobi Village into the water, in the end, I would be asking for trouble. So who sent this scroll? It can't be Hyuga that Danzo Shimura wants to kill. Come here, capture the people left behind by Danzo, take them down and torture them for information, and then send the information over. No matter who sent the information scroll, Sancho Hanzo has become suspicious, and he will no longer trust Shimura Danzo easily. As for whether what the other party said is true or false, just torture the ninjas left behind by Danzo Shimura. Even if the ninja left behind by Danzo Shimura is a dead soldier, Hanzo Sancho can still pull out information. In the ninja world, there are too many ways to dig out information from corpses. Each village has corresponding methods. It can only be said that some are strong and some are average. 2 hours later, a document was delivered to Sanshuyu Hanzo. Shimura Danzo. After reading the document, Sanjieu was furious. The news in this scroll sent from nowhere was true. Shimura Danzo's Hokage assistant position was taken away, and he currently stays with the family to rest. I don't have any rights in my hand. Sanshuyu Hanzo's face gradually turned red while wearing a respirator. Danzo, I'm still wondering why you can't even kill a little medical ninja. It turns out that you're trying to get me to do something wrong. Okay. Very good. Send this information and the body to the Konoha camp and give it to the people in Konoha. I want to see how Sarutobi Hiruzen should deal with Shimura Danzo. Assassinating a ninja in his own village, and also inviting outside forces to do it, leaking the village's information. Once the charges are confirmed, Shimura Danzo will definitely be able to enjoy it. Yes, leader. Wait a minute, I'll send it to you personally. Shimura Danzo, if you are unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. It was you who first treated me like a monkey. Thinking that he was being manipulated like a monkey, Sanshuyu Hanzo wanted to kill Shimura Danzo. Early the next morning, the ninja on duty in the camp sounded the alarm. The ninjas in the entire camp became nervous. Because the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, the so-called demigod Sanshuyu Hanzo, came uninvited and brought a corpse with him. The reputation of demigods is very loud in the ninja world. As the captain of the camp, Honda stepped forward and negotiated with the other party. Fortunately, Sanshuyu Hanzo came with a swagger and didn't look like he was going to attack the camp. Otherwise, it would not be negotiation, but a battle. Shizuchi, the leader of Rain Shinobi Village, Sanshuyu Hanzo, has arrived and brought a corpse. The captain has gone to negotiate. A war may break out. As someone who protects Jingyi, Sarutobi Mishima came directly to the medical room. Is Hanzo the Sancho fish here? As the leader of a village, traveling to other countries without any notice will cause misunderstandings. Even if you don't mean any harm. Could it be that the information sent yesterday worked? Jingyi guessed the purpose of Hanzo's arrival. May I ask why the demigod entered the Kingdom of Fire? Honda still respected Sancho Hanzo. After all, he was the leader of a village and a well-known strong man in the ninja world. He had to give him the respect he deserved. Sanshuyu Hanzo threw the body in his hand at the gate of the camp. A few days ago, Shimura Danzo came to Rain Shinobi Village and used a lot of Konoha's information to make a deal with me, hoping that I could kill a medical ninja named Hyuga Shizuchi, but I rejected him. This is the person he left behind. I hope you can convey this matter to Hokage as soon as possible and tell him that I have no intention of becoming an enemy of Konoha. What? Shao Honda, everyone jumped up and down, the corpse is a ninja of Konoha? Episode 39. Third, Hokage is angry. Wait, this is not the point. The point is that Shimura Danzo leaked village information and made a deal with Sancho Hanzo, hoping that the other party would kill Shizuchi. Hiss. This is a bit of a big deal. Is everything you said true? Sanshuyu Hanzo looked at Shao Honda coldly. I don't bother to lie. This person offended me in the village, so he was taken down. There is information about the torture here. Send it to Hokage as well. Tell him that if you want to respond to San Shinobi Village's provocation, don't involve Rain Shinobi Village. I don't want to be an enemy of Konoha, but I'm not fooling around. Are you treating me like a monkey? Then don't blame me for throwing dirty water on you. Anyway, Shimura Danzo did leak a lot of information about Konoha. I will add some water to the mix. You must also bear this blame. Something big happened. After leaving the body behind and saying what he wanted to say, Sanshuyu Hanzo decisively evacuated. Shouda was running around anxiously. Why did Danzo-sama assassinate Shizuchi? I don't know. Did Jingyi offend him? No matter if there is a conflict or not, you shouldn't do this kind of thing. What's even worse is leaking the village's information and asking others to take action. No matter what conflicts and contradictions Shimura Danzo had between Shimura Danzo and Shimura Danzo, it was wrong to carry out an assassination. Leaking village information as a deal and asking outsiders to take action was even worse. Shao Honda rushed to the medical department and told what happened. He was extremely anxious. What to do? What to do now? What to do? Of course it is cold salad. Sarutobi Mishima covered his face in pain. Danzo, how dare you? You just hired someone to carry out the assassination, but you still handled the matter so crudely. Now it's fine, someone else just sells you, and you're finished. Sarutobi Mishima was sure that as long as the news was spread back to the village, Shimura Danzo would be finished. Demigod is also a person with personality, Danzo, you didn't expect that. Ha ha ha. If Honda and Sarutobi Mishima weren't still here, Jingyi would have wanted to laugh for a while. I'll go there myself. The matter was too big for Honda and Sarutobi Mishima to deal with, so they had no choice but to return to the village as soon as possible and ask Third Hokage to make a decision. I hope Hokage-sama won't be mad to death. Ha ha ha. After Honda and Sarutobi Mishima left, there was a burst of laughter in the medical room. The ninjas in the camp looked at each other in confusion. Although they could understand Jingyi's mood, wouldn't it be bad to smile so blatantly? Shimura Danzo was shot in the foot this time. Even if he won't be punished too seriously based on his past achievements, Third Hokage will not let him go easily. In a short period of time, Shimura Danzo completely lost his ability to jump. When he can start jumping around, you can easily squeeze him to death after a while, just like squeezing a little bedbug to death. The matter was so important that Sarutobi Mishima first used the ninja eagle in the camp that was specially used to transmit information to send the news back to give Third Hokage a vaccination. He rushed to the village, carrying the body himself. Running back to the village from the border camp, and the thick snow in winter would affect the speed of the journey, it would take at least 2 days for Sarutobi Mishima to return to the village. On the contrary, the ninja eagle flies directly in the sky and can fly to Konoha in just 3 or 4 hours. Lord Hokage, this is a scroll sent by the intelligence department. It was sent from the border camp of the Kingdom of Rain. Sancho Hanzo arrived at the camp early in the morning, and Sarutobi Mishima quickly sent out the news, so when the intelligence scroll arrived in Konoha, the Third Hokage had just had lunch. Put it on the table. Third Hokage, who was looking through the documents, said without raising his head and continued to look at the documents in his hand. As for the scroll, it will be needed later. After reading the document in his hand carefully, thinking for a moment, reviewing it, and stamping the Hokage seal, the third Hokage put the document away and picked up the scroll beside it. Opening the scroll with a unique password, third Hokage stared at the scroll, skillfully picked up the pipe on the table with both hands, put the pipe into his mouth, and started to light it. Cough. As soon as he lit up the cigarette and took a puff, third Hokage's eyes widened and he stood up in shock. He even pushed the chair under his butt and choked on the smoke he had just breathed into his lungs. It's not easy. How could it happen? This is impossible. At this time, third Hokage no longer cared about smoking. He threw the pipe aside as quickly as possible, grabbed the scroll and brought it to his eyes, almost touching his face. Is this scroll serious? Danzo actually leaked village information and used it to make a deal with Sanshuyu Hanzo, asking him to assassinate Shizuchi? As a result, he himself was sold. The first time he watched it, third Hokage felt dizzy. The second time, he was in disbelief. The third time, anger had spread all over his face. Danzo! The third Hokage was shaking with anger. He slammed the scroll onto the table. The Umbu ninja standing guard outside the door was startled. He can acquiesce to Shimura Danzo's evil intentions. As long as Shimura Danzo does not use the power of the village and drags him into the water, he will pretend that he cannot see it. After all, Shimura Danzo has shouldered a lot of blame for him and made a lot of contributions. He doesn't look at the monk's face and the Buddha's face, so he still has something to gain from Shimura Danzo. So give it some sweetness. But the third Hokage couldn't believe it in their wildest dreams. Shimura Danzo was so courageous that he even used the village's information to trade. What the hell is the difference between this and betrayal? The village is still holding important meetings, but you, Shimura Danzo, are using the information to make deals? Where is your face? Go and call Danzo over immediately. By the way, Koharu and the others, and Akamichi, the fat guy, call over. Hurry up. Sanshuyu Hanzo went to the camp to negotiate in person and told the matter in public, unable to hide it even if he wanted to. Once the news starts to spread, the effect will definitely be explosive. If one thing is not handled well, their senior management team will be affected. Lord Hokage is very angry. The people in Umbu didn't know what was going on. Knowing that third Hokage was in a state of anger, they could only go and ask for help. Monkey, why did you call me here again? I didn't mean. Being called over in confusion, Akamichi planned to make a joke, but before he could finish his words, he saw third Hokage's gloomy face that was almost dripping with water, so he chose to shut up decisively and sit on the floor to wait. Waiting for others to arrive. Akamichi looked serious on the surface, but secretly he was thinking about what could make third Hokage so angry. It seems that things are not simple. Soon, Koharu and Mito Manabu also came to sleep. The two walked into the Hokage's office, noticed the expression on the third Hokage's face, and looked towards Akamichi. Akamichi gave the two of them a look that I didn't know, and then the old god sat down. He decided that it would be better to stay less involved in this matter today. Episode 40. Third Hokage, this is Danzo's fault, it's his fault. From now on, he will be less involved in the affairs of the village, give Liu Xian more opportunities, and try to push Zhu Ludi over, so that he can stay at home and take care of himself. Hiruzen? Go to bed, Koharu called out tentatively, but third Hokage said nothing. Oh haha. It seems that the situation is a bit serious. The third Hokage only behaves like this when he is particularly angry. No one will pay attention to him. He will only speak when he wants to say something after everyone has arrived. Just wait. The three of them made eye contact and sat down. Lord Hokage. At this time, the Umbu ninja who went to inform Shimura Danzo came back. Where's Danzo? Third Hokage asked. Umbu ninja said sarcastically, Danzo-sama said that he was not feeling well, so. Bump. The words "I'm not feeling well" sounded very harsh to third Hokage. He was so angry that he slammed the table hard, making everyone in the office confused. Is this the same Sarutobi Hiruzen we know? Are you sure it's not Tsunade in disguise? You go down first. Go to bed, Kohara gets up and lets Umbu's ninja go down. After the other party left, he said to third Hokage. Hiruzen, what did Danzo do to make you so angry? What's up? Third Hokage laughed angrily, this is almost going to turn upside down, do you know? Assassinate ninjas from the same village, use the village information to make a deal with Sancho Hanzo, and ask Sancho Hanzo to kill Hyuga Seiichi, but he was betrayed by Sancho Hanzo, and someone else went to the border camp to kill this guy in front of dozens of ninjas. Things are shaking out. What do you think he did? The crime of assassinating ninjas from the same village and leaking the village's information could be serious or minor. At worst, it was easy to get past with a vague explanation. Once it is enlarged, it will definitely make you unable to eat and walk around. If these things were revealed through other channels, that would be fine, third Hokage would still be able to accept it. It happened that Sanshou Hanzo came to the door and said it in front of dozens of Konoha ninjas. The ninjas who rotated at the border were somewhat reluctant and unwilling because they needed to be stationed for a long time. As a result, the Shimura Danzo incident broke out, which will cause many people to feel chilled. Forgetting that our family could not survive the new year, we braved the heavy snow and freezing rain and went to the border camps to guard the border. We patrolled and stood guard all day long. Why should we guard our own people? Because we might be attacked by our own people. Assassination. Who can stand this kind of thing? Although the people who were assassinated were not them, everyone was stationed in the same camp and they were all members of the same camp. If they could empathize with it, it would make everyone feel sad. Numb, completely numb. Akamichi covered his forehead helplessly and went to bed. Koharu and Mito Kaiden's eyes were dull, and they couldn't believe what they heard. Is Shimura Danzo crazy? To assassinate ninjas from the same village, it is better to ask outsiders to do it. If the news spreads, it will make people feel alienated. Just an ordinary person. Is Hyuga Jinjichi an ordinary person? I can't imagine how Tsunade and Uzumaki Mito would react when they heard the news. Hiruzen, we must control Danzo. If possible, a gag order needs to be signed at the border camp. Go to bed. Koharu is extremely anxious. Third Hokage said with a headache, do you think it is possible to sign a gag order? When Uzumaki Mito is a decoration? Tsunade could turn the Hokage office building upside down. Oh, I didn't expect that Danzo would do such a crazy thing. We must give the villagers an explanation for this matter. At the critical moment, third Hokage abandoned Shimura Danzo without hesitation. He, Sarutobi Hiruzen, couldn't touch this kind of pot, not at all. I can only throw it all to Shimura Danzo. Mito Kadoyan nodded solemnly and said, I think Hiruzen is right. This matter was caused by Danzo alone from beginning to end. We must control him and give the villagers an explanation. Before the news spreads, capture Shimura Danzo as quickly as possible, lock him up, make a quick announcement, and make arrangements in advance. This kind of thing cannot wait. Once the news spreads and ignites the anger of the villagers, it will not end well. Therefore, we must strike first, take down Shimura Danzo, and correct the attitude of the Hokage office. Duanzo will leave it to you. I will send someone to make an announcement. The third Hokage didn't want to see Shimura Danzo at all. Then Danzo's punishment. This kind of thing can be big or small, but Shimura Danzo was betrayed too hard by Sanshou Hanzo, and the Hokage office must come forward to severely punish him. Otherwise it will chill the hearts of many people. As for Shimura Danzo's punishment, Koharu and the three of them could not control the size. I'll lock him up first. No matter what, Danzo has made a lot of contributions to the village. Although he made mistakes, he shouldn't be punished too severely. If Shimura Danzo is not punished, it will be difficult to explain to the villagers, and the intensity of punishment needs to be controlled. After all, Shimura Danzo still has great uses, and the third Hokage cannot directly trample him to death. After a brief discussion, Koharu, Mito Minyin, and Akamichi took the wind. Third generation took Umbu's people to find Shimura Danzo. Seeing that the small courtyard where he lived was surrounded by Umbu's people, Shimura Danzo realized something was wrong. Could it be that Uzumaki Mito is causing trouble? Or did Sancho Hanzo fail? This idiot demigod couldn't even kill a medical ninja. Duanzo, something happened to you. According to Hokage's order, you will be arrested and imprisoned. I hope you can cooperate. Go to bed. Koharu and Mito Katoyen had no idea of speaking, but Akamichi had no choice but to stand up and be the villain. Why? Shimura Danzo asked calmly. Akamichi took the wind and rubbed his fat face, and cursed with hatred. You still ask me why? The monkey is almost mad at you, and you want to assassinate Hyuga Jingyi just because of a small contradiction? Don't forget that you were the one who made trouble for others first. It would be fine if you did it yourself, But you actually leaked the village's information and made a deal with Sanshuyu Hanzo. If Shimura Danzo did it himself, Akamichi would still admire him for taking the wind. As a result, this guy was unwilling to take action or come forward, so he used the village's information to trade. The result was good, and I was sold by Sanshuyu Hanzo on the backhand. Did it fail? No, although there are many ninjas in the border camp, they can never stop Sansho Hanzo. Although he despises Sansho Hanzo from the bottom of his heart, Shimura Danzo has to admit that the opponent is really strong, at least much stronger than him. So the question is, how did it happen? It's not like Hyuga Shizuchi, who is disabled, and Daihatsu Kamui, can take down Hanzo the Sansho fish. Sansho Hanzo will definitely be controlled by him, Shimura Danzo can be sure of this.